It originally started out, it seems, as a plan by the United States to pull everybody together, pull its allies together in Europe and the Middle East and elsewhere on the issue of Iran. The issue of Iran, though, has proved to be a very controversial one for the United States because the United States pulled out of that signature nuclear deal with Iran, the JCPOA, Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. That alienated not just the Europeans, but the Chinese and the Russians are also signatories to that. So trying to find common ground on the issue of Iran has proved extremely difficult, particularly at a time when the Europeans are currently searching for ways to circumvent many of those sanctions. Have already taken steps in that direction. So the United States have decided to try and broaden it out so that this doesn't turn into a diplomatic fiasco. So it's going to be a bit of everything on the Middle East. In other words, they'll be looking at the Israeli-Palestinian talks, and Jared Kushner, he's there, Trump's chief advisor. There is talk, everybody's been waiting for his peace plan on the Palestine for at least a couple of years now, but there is talk, excuse me, but this time round he may come out with at least some of the fundamentals of the economic package he's been thinking about, though not the political aspect of it. They'll be talking about Syria, they'll be talking too about Yemen, and it's interesting that one senior European foreign minister, Jeremy Hunt from the UK, will be attending the conference, but his prime interest is Yemen, and there is talk that he may leave after he's spoken with the Yemeni authorities about any sort of progress that can be made towards peace there. So, it's a little bit of a catch-all at the moment, which doesn't seem to be going very far. And any hopes, I think, that this will lead to concrete results are pretty slim.
Now, the Saudis are attending this summit, and so is Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Are both sides visibly now on the same page when it comes to the Middle East?
It's an interesting question, this one, I think, because quite clearly there has been a degree of rapprochement between Israel and, in particular, Saudi Arabia and some of the Gulf states. We saw Benjamin Netanyahu last year in Oman. A couple of Israeli ministers were in the United Arab Emirates recently as well. We've had a lot of sort of behind-the-scenes discussions between the Saudis and the Israelis, and we know that an awful lot of intelligence is shared between the two, but obviously the icing on the cake for the Israelis would be for official recognition, in particular from Saudi Arabia, and not least for Benjamin Netanyahu, with elections coming up in Israel in April, and under an awful lot of pressure at home at the moment because of corruption investigations involving his person. So he would certainly welcome that. But having said that, I think it's unlikely that at this stage that the Arab states that are present are likely to give him what he wants. Although there may be a photo op, and he might of them all together in Warsaw, that would certainly be regarded by the Israelis as a step forward. But on the really sort of essential issues, I don't think the Arabs are prepared to go that far at this stage. They recognize that they share a lot of positions, for instance, on Iran with Israel, and want to do more to cooperate. But the essential problem is that the Arab street is not on the same page as the Arab governments when it comes to dealing with Israel at the moment. And politically, it will be far too risky for them to take a step like that.
Into some news just